Yeah, exactly. All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday to everyone joining us. Welcome back to another Engineering the Markets. My name is Jared, and it is September 15th, 2022. It's gotten a little chilly this morning, so hence the slightly different attire. But overall, same program, same presenter, and ideally the same topics. So S&Ps yesterday, not really too much in the way of new volatility. We saw a little bit of stall in the overall progression of the bearish downtrend that's trying to form. And we're seeing, that general trend line support kind of crop its head up a little bit. Bears are for some reason not really seeing additional downside at this point in time. We saw that more on the intraday, and I would say on the S&P itself, that was kind of a clear indication to maybe be holding more neutral on the day, and obviously be looking for high to low type of trade throughout most of the session. One thing that was clear was we did have this sort of morning sell-off. Market tried to basically breach the previous day lows, and as we were testing this area, we saw major volatility back to the upside. So it's a hesitation by bears to lead the market lower to basically trigger a new breakdown. And while some bulls can obviously buy into that, it's more of a short covering rally at times. Usually on the shorter term time frame, if the bears aren't getting follow through, they'll often kind of relinquish near lows and then set up again near highs, just trying to capture the risk to reward on the intraday session. Couple of key stocks were kind of running into their resistance points from yesterday or Tuesday's sell-off. A stock like Apple kind of has that clear, choppy, consolidative area, bit of overhead supply concept in the market. And Apple was a notably weak name on the Tuesday session, probably one of the deeper sell-offs that we saw. So bounces against that area were sold, but it also meant that you could be looking for a little bit of oversold play near low of day or near the previous day low. Most of those would have been successful opportunities along with an intraday setup to basically get your risk defined. So a stock like Apple is still showing just that hesitation, and then you compare that to a stock like Tesla, where we are getting some follow through. We're actually seeing this one outperform on the rally, not give back too much on the sell-off. And at least as far as yesterday is concerned, we're actually retesting the previous highs. So there is a bit of divergence in what names are standing out, which names are not. Energy was another area of the market to focus on bullish, as we saw crude continue to rise, nat gas having a little bit more upside volatility. Some of that's giving back at the moment. It's actually a little bit of a catalytic event that we'll discuss shortly. But there's been some pretty significant volatility in our energy products, and that kind of keeps the XLE a tradable area with a lot of price range to work through. So all of that said, I would say yesterday's breadth was still a bit poor. If you're looking at something like a heat map or a distribution of what was strong versus what was weak, wasn't really a notable day. There was some strength, as I mentioned, in energy. Tesla kept the discretionary sector strong. And then throughout, you're going to see something that's amidst to like a kind of a non-impact sort of performance throughout most of your main sectors, with real estate and materials coming off a bit deeper. So nothing of note there. Most of the risk factors continue to be elevated in the market, the dollar, rates, and just overall bond products kind of testing their lows. So what else is kind of shaking in the market? As the title suggests for today's show, we have a little bit of a catalyst going on in regards to railroad union workers. So the railway systems, some of which can be publicly traded. Union Pacific is one of the, probably the largest one and one of the most notable. But there's also CSX Corp. These two are experiencing some price volatility as we're getting railway workers going on strike, or potentially about to go on strike. They're demanding basically new contract considerations relative to their hours of performance and sort of when can they take off, and how much are they required to be on, because they do have sort of a call schedule that they have to maintain. They're also trying to assess whether their wages are still fair in this higher inflationary environment. A few people are kind of mentioning today that there is some ongoing discussion as to whether or not this is going to be a short-term event, something that was just a 1 to 2 day shakeup, as we are getting some resolution from the White House, and President Biden is working through some of these discussions. Not every union, I believe, has been basically alleviated. So unless that's changed this morning, this is still an ongoing concern. And there is a timeline for later today for it to be fully resolved, or else they will be going on strike. So I don't have, the bleeding news right in front of me. It is something to kind of watch today. And especially as traders, these particular stocks are actually kind of moving quite well. Yesterday, especially as this was kind of becoming more in focus, we saw some significant downside volatility, breaching some daily pivots. And if it is getting resolved at this point in time, we'll expect things like repricing back to levels that they've already come off of. So, if the risk is out of the market, usually the market will reprice back to previous levels. So, ideally, if it's a longer term situation, there could be a longer term trade that's setting up. But if this were to turn into a larger event, there are some inflation related issues that could come up with a lack of freight being delivered across the country. For now, we'll kind of see how it shakes out this week. I wanted to bring attention to it because it's a catalyst in focus right now. And no matter what happens, this can provide volatility for us today. So that one is first. The second thing I wanted to cover was we do have a little bit of data later today. I'll call out just for now the earnings later this afternoon. Earnings really hasn't been a key focus. We're pretty much at the tail end of all the earnings season, but Adobe would be one to watch. If we go to economic, we can see on Thursday, we do have retail sales coming out pretty much at the end of this engineering the market session. So if you're looking for another focus area, maybe some retail trade going on today, especially if these numbers come as a surprise to the market. So you want to be looking for some participation, maybe in some of your brick and mortar retail, along with just your key names like an Amazon. They might have a little bit of shakeup here, especially if we get something out of the ordinary. So be watching for that. These numbers here would be the ones, or oops, these numbers here. Not sure why we're not getting the previous numbers here. So those are some things in focus today. We'll kind of see how they shake out, especially with Adobe's earnings. Third thing, I've been asked a few times about how Max Payne works on stocks. And I'll kind of use the ETFs that we normally track to kind of provide an example. But Max Payne is a concept that derives from how market makers basically facilitate liquidity in the option market. Anytime you have a large interest in having the actual underlying asset be at certain prices, especially at expiration, let's say you're someone who's holding a lot of open interest in a particular name, calls and puts notwithstanding, you want those contracts to some degree to have as little premium near expiration as possible, because if you're holding a lot of the net short or just the sold contracts, your incentive is that a lot of those go to close to zero or just start to decay closer to expiration. So the concept of Max Payne is that if you have a heavily traded option asset, and whenever that asset is close to expiration, you'll often see the market try to price close to that Friday, typically near those levels or near those areas where it can experience the most decay. So one thing we do as traders is we kind of just know what those levels are. And this website offers a way to kind of search for this. So here I have the SPY. I'm looking at tomorrow's expiration. And if you scroll down, there's some other charts here like open interest, where the heavy call and put levels as far as what's available currently at the time the chart is created. This volume chart looks like it's not coming up, but the one that matters here would be your Max Payne levels. So at least based on current readings, SPY has a Max Payne of 404. Now, obviously, the SPY is trading at about 395 this morning. So that means if we start to see something like a trend form to the upside, there may be a bit of a draw or a gravity move towards a value area, which as close to 404 as possible would be the ideal target for most of the market makers. Now, how does this work? It's usually based around the idea that if certain things start to transpire in price, market makers hold stock inventory or ETF inventory. They have to hedge. And if they have a lot of this inventory, as open interest starts to wane or just come out of the market close to expiration, they can use that to facilitate movement. Not to say that they can drive the price in their favor, but it's often just a self-fulfilling prophecy. Usually as, let's say, the market is under this key area of inflection, Max Payne being the number, you'll see a lot of call buyers who are maybe too high start to sell or just unload unprofitable calls. And in doing so, the market maker who had to hedge by selling a call and buying shares can now actually relinquish those shares. So they can use that basically to get rid of that inventory. Not to say that that's a bullish move, but it shows how perception and the idea of who's right and wrong, if there's enough of an interest in certain areas, that can actually drive characteristic behavior back to these levels. So for the SPY, it's good to know that number. For, let's say, the NASDAQ, it's good to know that number just in case there is some centered trade, especially technical trade around these levels with clear support and resistance. On Friday, especially, if you see the market trading around these prices, oftentimes you won't get a lot of directional volatility. You'll often see sort of a dampened range. I won't go into the specifics there, but it kind of looks like an oscillator. It typically has a high and a low, and it compresses. If we're away from that level, you need volume to get you back to it, so you could play towards max Payne. But if you're far away from it, you don't necessarily want to assume that we're headed there. You just want to note that this is where the market maker would like the price to be. And if we're not there, that means that there's a skew of who's in the money and who's out of the money during that time. So I'm not going to go into too much more today. We've covered this quite a few times, so I'll answer any questions in the chat more directly. But max Payne concepts, it's good to know your numbers. If you're trading a particular stock that trades heavily in the option market, just know that on Friday, if it's trading around that price, it might be very challenging to get edge, especially directional edge. It's hard to move away from that level on a Friday. So anyway, and this week is the triple witching week, so it's higher option volume, and it's a monthly expiration for the SPX. So knowing these numbers this week is actually to our benefit. So feel free to use this website and basically search for whatever stock you're interested in. So that's max Payne in a nutshell. And then the last thing I'll kind of wrap up today a little bit is, let's see, we wanted to look at a comparison of 2022 to 2008. Trying to think if this is the best way to do this. There we go. Okay, so there was a session probably about a couple months ago. I'll just start off in maybe September of 2007, and I'll bring this back into December of 2008. So, and during that session, we talked about how there was some spooky technical similarities to what we were seeing with the S&P relative to the larger bear market that historically is one that is kind of a fearful mention, which is the 2008 bear market. There's also a similarity to 1973. I probably won't have time to look at that, but you could bring the chart back to about 1973 and look at some of these technical similarities. So one of the things I brought to attention during that time was this particular impact to the market. The idea that in 2008, as we were starting to recover off of a double bottom, there was a corrective move in the market that was back testing a lot of supply and also coming in to the 200 period. And that made a major inflection point for any bull to see additional upside. It kind of marked the ceiling at the time. You'll recall that actually is a very notable inflection this year, and it is probably the pivot that we want to break if we ever want to see, obviously more upside. But what's been spooky about the inflection is not only has it killed the trend, but the forming downtrend has been favorable in regards to weak bounces and overall deep sell swings, especially near your medium to short term trending moving averages like the 50 and the 20. Now, as I mentioned, things have to form a certain way for this to kind of come to fruition, but we're seeing some similar hard sell swings off of our moving averages, albeit this move here wasn't quite as extended as what we have currently. You'll note that the moving averages were a bit closer in width relative to what we have today. There was much wider of a divergence there. But similar sell swings, and as the market traded under all of our key moving averages, this basically formed the structure that allowed the market to sell even further. So a lot of people are looking at this as a correlated marketplace relative to the moves, the rejections, some of the technical levels, and obviously the volatility readings that we're starting to see kind of kick back in. Unlike today, we don't have that characteristic trend line, but I'd argue that once we started to lose this trend, the idea that we were starting to break back down into a downtrend, not only did the S&P make new lows, but it obviously collapsed much further out in time. So I got the question of, what's the thesis for the SPY getting to 350? One, we need certain key stocks to be selling. Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Tesla, all those names have to be somewhat aligned in one favorable direction. Two, the market has to have a clear rejection point. The 200-day was the one that we were kind of focused in on. It still remains the key pivot to the top side. It's the area where the market stopped rallying. And then, of course, now that we're starting to see more downside volatility, if we lose things like our trend line, it opens the door. It opens the ability for the market to sell because momentum can shift even heavier into one direction. And we can really see the market just sort of retesting lows, coming into new price levels. This would be analogous to something like SPY 365. And then here, SPY 350, these numbers are probably percentage-wise about equivalent because we saw like a $5 drop here. And it's about a 5% drop from those pivots. So I am open to the discussion that the market is set up in a similar way to 2008. As I mentioned, you could also go as far back as 1973, and there's some pretty high correlation relative to the correction that occurred during that time. It's not just this area here that's spooky, it's everything that occurred before. The fact that we top out on in 2008, it wasn't necessarily a secular bull run, but they were retesting 2000 highs and the market started to pull back in. Of course, seeing losses of daily and weekly trends is a bad signal. And then of course, the 200-day rejection pretty much kills, that thesis. So as long as the market's under this area, there is potential downside risk. It's momentum that has shifted into more of a neutral to downside move, especially as these things are sloping against us. So, 1973 would be more of an inflationary comparison. That's certainly the pressure we're feeling in this market. 2008 is a crisis. It's a housing and financial crisis. So different catalysts, different reasons for the markets to go down. Obviously, pick your poison there and look for the similarities, set up trades relative to that idea. And obviously one of these will be right. We'll either make fresh lows or we've already seen the correction bottom, which would be the 265 levels. So we'll go back to our current market. And obviously, like I said, nothing is perfect, but the similarities are spooky. It's all about this rejection. It's about the fact that we've seen major lows and highs being set, weekly pivots. And the fact that the market continues to lose ground on sell swings. Okay. So with all that said, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it here. Trade safe today. It's Thursday, so we might get a little bit of shakeup in regards to more downside kind of coming. We're obviously trying to lose Tuesday's low for the bears. For the bulls, we do have a very slight pivot that they're trying to get over. You can see a little bit more just I would say like lackluster upside, but it also means that the downside is a bit pinned right now. Um, Ideally, we'd like to get out of these sort of setup ranges and into a new expansion. That would be ideal for trends and for additional volatility. But otherwise, trade safe. Don't allow your bias to kind of drive too much of your intraday trade today. I think yesterday it was bearish setup, but it's obviously needing to rest and a little bit of kind of rebuild here before we might see another leg lower. So we'll kind of see how that forms, and obviously, trade what the market's given, not necessarily your bias. So talk to y'all later. Stay tuned for pre-market prep.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to PreMarket Prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hopefully, you guys had an incredible day yesterday. So, apologies for my cameras here, guys. My battery discharged. Forgot to put it to charge last night. It's charging now, so I should be able to turn it on in a couple of minutes when we get some juice in there. So, good morning, Norm. Not sure if you're there. Might just be settling in. As he does that, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the stuff we had yesterday, guys. I mean, starting here with Neo, and again, Neo was it's just incredible. It's amazed me how this stock went from trading horrible to doing some pretty. Oh, I think I just saw Norm. Good morning, Norm. How you doing? Oh, I thought I did. Maybe not.
Yep, I'm here. Good
Oh,
morning.
okay.
How you
Yep.
doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Good, thanks.
All right,
Happy
excellent.
Thursday.
Yes, happy Thursday. So guys, yeah, let's take a look at Neo. So Neo was really nice yesterday. It gave you a little bit of a tough time to get going. Some pretty interesting or weird candles here that are not favorable depending on your style of trading, especially this one here, right? But it did settle down, could not make a new low, and this is something that we learned very early on from Andrew's trading here. If something cannot make a new low, it's a good indication doesn't want to head back down there, right? So it does that here. This became a nice long. This was actually my trade here, and a couple of you guys also in the community took this trade. And we've seen Neo be very strong. Even yesterday when the market sold off, the day before, excuse me, it popped up pretty nice, right? So Neo's been on a tear here. Uh, had great volume in pre-market. Does not have that today. We'll see if it's going to be in play, but I will definitely be watching this one. Just the way the daily has been setting up has been interesting to watch. A lot of the stuff on our usual suspects list, AMD, Nvidia, and I believe also Apple, did not trade very well. I mean, it's just a lot of choppiness, a lot of indecision, and we kind of knew this going in. Where if we look at the SPY, and we'll talk about that in a second. If you look at the SPY yesterday, I mean, it is just complete sideways action. I mean, there was just nothing, no trend, no direction on this. We'll talk a little bit about that in just a second. And that reflected on AMD. AMD, that's just, I mean, you had a couple opportunities if you were able to scalp them. But overall, it's just no trend, no continuation. Nvidia was exactly the same thing. Things got better after 1 p.m., 12 yesterday, right? You could see a better trading activity, but for the most part, very difficult, at least first half. Apple, on the other hand, was a little bit cleaner. You can see here, Apple, again, coming off an incredible pre-market activity, did trade a little bit cleaner, and it did have a nice sell-off here towards the later parts of the afternoon. So that was nice. SQ was brutal. I was watching this one thinking, okay, today maybe they'll do something. Man, talk about pure garbage. And this is what I don't like about SQ. Even with news, it can trade pretty poorly. And there it is, guys. Just horrible trading action. got better, but for the most part, pretty wild. And then we had some other ones that were insane. OAT is one that a lot of us traded, and man, this thing was just on fire. I mean, the news. Talk about it being conflicting. The news did not match the action that this thing was having yesterday, right? The news, the catalyst was not that negative for many of us, and that showed in the action here pre-market hitting 750 and then running right back up to 16. So I mean that's a pretty good recovery if something is going to be dropping 40% on news, right? So we'll see what happens today. It might actually be in play here for secondary. I like where we're sitting at on the daily as well. So we'll probably be watching that one for a secondary move there. Outside of that, guys, that's what we have in our list. On our gappers list this morning, we got a couple of names. Some of these we've seen already. They're not great, especially NRBO, ATXG. ATXG has a float. I'm sorry, ATR of $74. Madness. We'll look at that in a second. And a couple of other low floats here as well. Netflix is probably the best as far as tickering company on here. So hopefully something's going on there. Up 2% this morning. I do believe they have news. Adobe has news as well. We have Affirm and some other ones on here. The gap down list as far as companies looks a lot better than the gap up this morning. Let's see if the details are better. As far as that, let's get over to the market pulse. Norm, what is the latest and greatest with the overall SPY? What's happening for today and tomorrow?
Yeah, man. As you mentioned, we had that off. We obviously had that huge down day a couple days ago, and then relatively flat yesterday. We'll see what we do. We just had a bunch of info come out with initial and continuing jobless claims. I have not seen that number. I'll be frank. I have not been sleeping well the last few days, and I took a sleep aid last night, and I feel like I'm walking through Jello. So, I at least got some sleep, but my head is completely foggy. I don't have that number yet. Retail sales, Philly Fed Manufacturing Index, Empire State Manufacturing Index, Import Price Index, all came out 2 minutes ago, 3 minutes ago. 9:15, we've got industrial production and capacity utilization. You see, I can't even type utilization. I don't know what that is. So anyway, we've got a ton of data dropping this morning.
All right, excellent, man.
Just looking here, jobless claims 213, expected 227, so a little bit lower than expected. Retail sales plus 0.3% versus minus 0.1% expected. At ROADs, yeah, exactly, Reagan. Of course, it wasn't nitrous oxide that I was huffing. Yeah, so anyway, I mean, the big news for today is, as Dan said, that the railroads labor union has come up with a tentative deal. That would have been a nightmare. We haven't spoken about it very much here, just because we've had so much other stuff in the news with inflation and everything else.
Mhm.
But had that strike taken place, and I mean, it's not a guarantee it's over, but usually if they come out and say they have a tentative deal, it's very rare that doesn't happen. That would have been nasty. Supply chain disaster 2.0. So anyway, lucky that has been averted, it seems. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, the market's not doing much, but I guess the market hadn't priced in the potential for that, because I would think we'd have a pretty decent pop here had that.
Agree.
Had the market been anticipating that happening. So anyway,
yep,
that's what we got.
All right, excellent, man. All right, guys, let's look at what we have here on our gappers list this morning. Let's remove the stuff from yesterday. Control A, Control X is going to take care of that for us. And let me link my trade ideas. For those that do not know how to do this, if you come over to your trade ideas and you want to link to your DAS, just come over here to tools, hit external linking, and this little window is going to pop up. This allows you to link this to anywhere where you can throw in a field, anywhere you could type in something, right? So you can click it on here, you can hit that, and then there you go. You can even link it to an actual chart. It doesn't have to be a montage. I did that the other day, and actually that worked pretty good. You can link it to an actual chart. And if you're interested in getting the scanners that we have, our templates, they are available on our website, bearwithtraders.com. So head on over there and you can download those for free, I believe. So, yep. All right, here we go, guys. Starting with the first one, NRBO. This thing has been on deck for a while. I'm not a big fan of this. It's all over the place. Spread is nasty. Looks good now, but at times I've seen this at $2 at the market open. So, again, be extra cautious with this thing. I don't think it's really tradable. I don't care what the volume is. To manage your risk on something like that is very, very difficult. So I won't even add it to my pile of risky low flow stuff. Just be mindful. And
Pile
AT,
of something else.
say it again.
Pile of something else.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. ATXG was on our list. Not so. It's been on our list for a while here. It just keeps popping up in the gappers list. This is the one that ran up to 650. I think it went after hours, hit like 13 or something, 1300. Just massive. And they have a $14.21 ATR. Just madness. Not a fan, guys. It's just pure garbage. So again, just skip that. STOR. And with
That's
that said,
a REIT and a buyout.
oh
So
man,
just
talk
move
about
on.
a double bad. Yeah, we'll move on from this.
Yeah.
And just for the sake of those who are new, guys, if you, we're not dismissing these really quickly. So we've done this for so long. We know these two can be garbage. And don't confuse getting lucky on something and actual trading. You got to be very careful with that because it does happen. You can trade something like this, get lucky on a run and make a ton of money if you caught this from like 30 to 50, right? Which is a couple of shares. But don't confuse that with actually trading a strategy and actually doing something that you can do consistent, right? Be very careful with that, especially starting out. Building that confidence early on without a good foundation is a problem. ADTX here, guys, another one that does not look great. Had a nice sell-off yesterday. The fun might be over on this. This is stock doesn't usually do anything. Not a low flow, 54.4 million. But yeah, I think this is done here. Meg L, we've seen this garbage before. Another one that, again, these IPOs just take off here for no reason. This one went from 40 to 250 and that back down to $6 again. Yeah, just pure garbage. So nothing good to see here on the gap up list. Let's see what's gapping down. We have Adobe. I know they had news and I read it and I forgot it already. But I know they have something going on today. This is why they're on our list. And as you can see, they are not having fun, Norm. They're taking a nice hit here this morning.
They had earnings this morning. They have earnings after the close tonight, I guess. Or they have earnings. It says it's tonight after the close, but I think it's already come out.
Yeah.
So here it is. And they're buying. They are making an acquisition. I know that much.
Yeah.
But I guess they reported this morning, even though it says after the close in FinViz. It says after the close in TI
after
too.
The close in TI too. Yeah. So I don't know what
it's very. They announced early with Figma deal.
Okay. Earnings was
Figma
released
sounds like
earlier.
a disease.
Yeah.
They should have photoshopped their earnings. I concur, Harry K.
So Adobe in play today, guys. They're usually not a great ticker to day trade, but today they're definitely got some movement, down 10%. This will be a nice one to look at. A-Firm, today they are down 6.6, 427,000. This bad boy here, it's a hit or miss for me on A-Firm. I mean, we've seen them do okay, but they can be so bad more often than not. So I'm just going to put them as a possible for now. We can come back to it.
So there was news that came out that the CFPB, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, is going to be regulating these buy now, pay later things, which is a good idea. Seems like a digital pawn shop kind of. No, I don't think so.
Gotcha.
Digital payday loan kind of thing. I mean, I would think it'd be a good idea to keep an eye on that.
I can only imagine the interest on a digital pay loan. I mean, I know I've seen the commercial on TV. I'm sure they're pretty high. All right, so here we go, guys. A-Firm on deck again. I'm not a big fan of this. We'll see where it goes. Here we have NEE. This is down 4.3 this morning. It is 318,000. Not great. Very light volume, by the way. Only 6 million roughly on a regular basis here. I do like the drop, but I'm just concerned we're not going to get much out of this. Daily looks good, though. Daily for a possible breakdown of this here would be nice. I don't know. Let's see. Let's come back to it. SQ. Oh, man, SQ was so bad yesterday as far as the market open. This morning down 2.6. Again, they lost everything they made yesterday. They're back down to kind of the open of yesterday here. Let's see. SQ could be a hit or miss. Today, they can actually trade very well. They did horrible yesterday, but today they can actually do good. So we'll put them on here. Their daily does look okay. Let's see if that can turn around and trade a lot better than it did yesterday for sure. We definitely need that. Norm, not a whole lot to go through here. Do you have anything on your end that you like?
No, given my foggy state of mind, I probably won't be trading. doesn't seem
That's
prudent.
there's definitely nothing here calling you to force a trade in your condition at the
And
moment.
that's the other thing too, is it's all garbage except the gap up, the gap down list is complete garbage except for possibly Netflix.
Yeah. I remember we got time.
Gap
We
down
had
is a couple. Anyway, go ahead.
So we have a little bit of time. So I one time I pulled up my back. I had a upper back, like a muscle just got a spasm. It was really bad. For a couple of days, I had to go to the doctor, give me a muscle relaxer. I never had this before, dude. They are incredible. Like I was just laxing, so relaxed. I'm like, wow, this is great. I started feeling better. My wife is like, okay, I think you're good now. I'm gonna throw these out. I'm like, no, don't throw them out. This could be very helpful. But yeah, man, I get the feeling of just feeling nice and relaxed. So hopefully you got some rest, man. Hopefully you're able to get some rest today if needed. All right, let's take a look here.
I got rest. That's the thing. I slept for like 12 hours.
Holy! Oh, so you're not actually okay. You did get.
I'm
some
not
good
tired.
rest.
No, I took a freaking Unisom and passed the F out, and I couldn't even get myself. I woke up 2 hours later than I usually do. I went to bed earlier than I usually do. I got a ton of sleep. I just feel like somebody shot me with a tranquilizer dart.
No one was sleeping like at 8 p.m. yesterday. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's take it to the room, guys. What do you guys like this morning? Adobe's on deck.
You're not supposed to snort those.
That's a good one.
Or maybe you are, because I didn't.
Yeah. Let's see here. So, all right, let's get to it, guys. NVIDIA's on deck. Let's add this. Usual suspect, right? As soon as I think about NVIDIA, we're adding NVIDIA. We're adding Apple. We're adding AMD on here. Again, stuff that's going to most likely move with the market. I can't wait to see what the SPY is going to give us today. We kind of called it yesterday. It's either going to be flat or down, and it was basically flat. So we'll see today. Now that we got a little break from the madness the day before, what today is going to do. So Tesla is another one. Yeah, you can watch. Tesla actually moved yesterday very well. I didn't have it on my list, but I saw you guys trading it. It moved very well. Yes, it had a nice little pop here. Day looks interesting. Doing the opposite of the market overall. Yeah, Tesla could be a decent one. I'm only putting them as a possible for my personal list because I know I'd rather trade something else. I just don't like the way Tesla moves at times, right? And that's just a personal thing. It's a great ticker to trade if you're able to trade it well. I don't trade it as well as I do other stuff.
Nice.
It is, man. It is. It's breakout here. I mean, we're at this level. Yeah, it's looking real nice, and it's not running away. It's not gapping up, where it's running away to extend it. I mean, it is in a good spot right now. Christian's giving us FSR. If I can type, here we go. FSR. No, I don't like this used to be great for us, but I don't like the volume on it. And these lower price stocks, man, I don't know. This thing, not a fan of what I'm seeing here. I like the breakout. I can see what you're looking at, possible breakout and continuation, maybe to 1020 here, right? It's a good area. I'll put this level here for you guys now. But I just don't like the way this thing trades. I think I'm going to find something better or hold off until something better appears.
Got an upgrade this morning. It's got decent volume, albeit mostly in one candle. I would put this on a secondary.
Yeah,
the thing I dislike the most about it is a $10 ticker. I don't like trading $10 stocks, but
yeah, I agree. I prefer something a little higher as well. And again, I'm just, you might be right. No, today might be look good. I'm just going off how it's been in the past. It's been horrible, but again, today could be the day, right? So let's put it as a possible. Let's do that. Tesla's good. NVIDIA is good. STOR. I think we looked at that.
Oh, we already looked at that. That's that REIT buyout. It's no.
Yeah, it's a no.
So REITs. So Heather, REITs trade poorly to begin with. A REIT is a real estate investment trust. It's hard to describe, but if you look that up, you'll see they don't generally trade very well. It's essentially, and this isn't exactly what it was, but think about somebody. They're usually done in segments, whether it be like shopping malls or corporate office buildings or stuff like that. Think about a group or a batch of real estate properties bundled together and then traded as a stock. That's kind of what a REIT is in a way. They trade very poorly usually, and this one happens to be a buyout, And when it's a cash buyout, the stock usually goes to that price or just below it and just sits there and doesn't move. So you've got two big things against this one.
Yeah. Let's take a look at Neo. Yeah, Neo was great yesterday. Not on our gappers list today. Could be a good possible. It needs a lot more volume. This is very light this morning. But again, they've been trading pretty nice the last couple of days. Maybe a top possible, or even on the main list if we don't find anything else. We just need the volume to come in here. And notice on Neo, and it's done this a couple of times. You need to give it a little room, give it a couple of minutes before if it doesn't get going right away, because we've seen it be very choppy, and then you get these beautiful trades here. So we've seen that, and we also seen on the other hand where it takes off and it goes sideways for a bit. It was doing that for a while, but the last couple of days still being pretty nice. CCO at CCL, let's see here. CCL. No, not really in place. No volume. I see what you're looking at here, Avi. The daily looks probably interesting, but we need volume to get this going. It's gonna need a lot to break out of that. It has tried before in the past, has not been successful a couple of times, maybe here, but yeah, we'll have to see. Not really in play right now, though. I don't like the volume on it. A good possible if we can get to break out of that. ADB extended. Yeah, I agree with you. This is seems really oversold, but we'll see. I mean, we'll see. This thing is really getting slammed this morning. Definitely on our list, top one so far today. See, you know what? This is in play given everything that's going on, but as far as news, they don't get volume. I mean, they don't day trade very well, so it
They do
depends on your
today.
trading style. I'm sorry.
They have it today.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know for me personally having this one on deck. We'll see. We'll see. But this one's in play. Jerry mentioned another one too. I forgot the ticker. I think this is was it U something? You mentioned that one, UNP as well. So again, not typically stuff that I would look at
Yeah.
today. They could be in play, but I think I still rather keep an eye on an app or something else. Just me personally. But CXX looks a little bit better than UNP. UNP much lighter volume, a lot less shares being traded. So, and look at the pre-market now. I mean, it's going to get better market open, I believe, but I don't think by much. So
See, if you're gonna pick one of those, I'd keep CSX probably. It's got
yeah, let's remove this one so we don't confuse
way
people.
more
Yeah,
volume.
much better daily as well. Much better daily. I noticed AMD and Nvidia trade the same. Why do you have both? Yeah, that's a good question. I have all these do Nvidia, Apple, and AMD. Now, I've seen
Mhm.
situations. We've seen it where one could be better than the other, even though
Oh
they're
yeah,
trading off the same
absolutely.
news. And that's probably the reason why, right? And we've seen Nvidia go sideways when Apple trades excellent, right? Even though they're both moving up on SPY news. So that's the reason we keep them on there, right? So you could pick your favorite. If you like AMD better than Nvidia, you could do that, and vice versa, right? So that would be a preference part right there, Samuel. Which one do I prefer? I prefer usually Apple is usually the one out of all three of these that I prefer, right? But if you push me out of Nvidia and AMD, that's a tough one, man. It can go either way. That's a real tough one. Fubo here. No, there's not much going on this morning. Pretty quiet so far. Netflix, yeah, Netflix has news, I believe. They're not in the gap. They are in the gappers list, yeah. Now, they weren't a few minutes ago. Yeah, they have news this morning, so it could be interesting. Their daily looks good. They don't get a whole lot of volume pre-market. I'm gonna put them here on our main list to come back to and see how that's looking a little bit later. But they're up 2.5. Let's see if this news can break them out of this range they're stuck in. Again, they haven't been trading all that great since like July. July, we had an amazing month here. Outside of that, it's been pretty sideways for the most part. Not that we can catch something good here if things can get going with some volume. Tesla will push at the open, maybe below 297. Then I am long. All right, man. Let me know how that goes. I'm not saying it won't happen or that it will happen, but yeah, keep us posted. Cool, guys. Let's guys, hit that thumbs up over on YouTube if you haven't done so already. We appreciate that. We're sitting at 81 likes. We'd love to get to 250 if we can. Let's get over to our community event and announcement over on our website at bearbulltraders.com. And also, I want to show you guys one thing also over here on Trading Terminal, by the way. Have you guys seen the new scanners that are coming up here? We did mention, we've been mentioning a bit, Norm.
Not supposed
Yeah.
to be releasing this like this yet.
Oh, it's already on here, but it's not. Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
So don't announce it. Don't tell people about it.
Correct.
Okay, all right, cool. Guys, don't disregard that. Delete that from your memory. We used to Men in Black
If
with a flashlight.
it's beta, guys. If you go there and we get too much traffic, it might crash it. So it's
Okay.
kind
So
of right now.
don't go there
Thank you.
if you don't need it. But there's some other things on there, guys, that are pretty good, and there's always stuff popping up. So don't all rush there at once, but keep on the lookout. Keep on the lookout. There's always new things happening here, right? It's the best way to do that. All right. Andrew tweeted about it yesterday. Andrew cannot hold secrets. Do not tell Andrew. If you tell Andrew, don't do this or don't say this, he'll say it. All right, guys, go to bearreturns.com.
All right, guys. If you want to know what we got going on the next couple of weeks, go to bearbulltraders.com/webinars or click webinars in the nav bar at the top of the screen. Onboarding technology every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern with Carlos. Great for new traders. It's actually open to everybody. You can enroll there on the homepage to go get a reminder for the free session. You don't even have to sign up for BBT currently. All right, strategy and trade book on Tuesday. We got next week, Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern. Eamon's going to be talking about managing an open position. And then we'll have Andrew the following week, 8 p.m. the normal time, talking about a lot of his technology setup and all that, how he selects his trade, how he selects his stocks in play. Well, he comes in 2 minutes before the open and picks our list. Psychology Wednesday. Next Wednesday is Mike. He's going to be talking about analyzing your psychology journal, and then the following week, Randy Howe, emotional self-mastery of the trading mind user stress. Mentorship, 11 a.m. with John, 4 p.m. with Ed, 8 p.m. with Thor. StockTradingSimulator.com, our free web-based replay simulator. Just go to StockTradingSimulator.com where you can trade 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Hold your skills there. If you're looking to try out the chat room and you haven't been in, you can use the promo code PreMarket24 on the intro membership. That'll get you a discount. It's a one-time payment, not recurring. And if you'd like to become an elite annual, gain access to all the webinars we were describing and the recordings of the ones in the past, use the promo code READ50 to get half off and a free one-on-one coaching session with Dr. Kenneth Reed.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Norm. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let me see if I can get my camera going here. I have been leaving this battery for a little bit. Let's see if I can get that going here, and we will work on our watch list. Let's see if this works. All right. Apologies for that. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Okay, just reset it. That should be good to go. All right, guys, let's see what we got going on here. Let's take a look at it. DKNG. Someone threw that out here. DKNG. Light on volume. A great day yesterday, by the way. Nice day yesterday. 17 to 1830 or so. Without looking at all the details on how this traded, actually pretty clean. Pretty clean after that first hour and a half. That was very nice pop there. So possible continuation. Slight on volume right now, which doesn't mean anything too heavy on DKNG, because look at it yesterday. The pre-market action was basically non-existent here. This is why we didn't have it on our gappers list. Probably hit our scanners, but again, we had NEO and some other tickers that were just kind of overlapping or taking over some of that action on DKNG. So yeah, could do something. Could be a good possible, man. Could be a good possible, because on my possibles list, I have some that I'm probably going to end up taking off. So DK, NG, we'll throw that on here. I have, for example, like NE. It's a great gap down, but I'm concerned it's not going to trade well. FSR, we'll see where that goes, and we'll see what else we can keep on here. So, all right, let's get some levels in place. We'll talk about ADB. Man, continues to just drop here, down 10% now. This is great volume, by the way. 480. It's like 2 million shares on Apple, right? Think of it like that, because if you look at how much this thing trades throughout the day, you're looking at only like 2.1 million, right? Top 4.2 on a regular basis on a big move, right? So they don't get heavy volume. The fact they have 480 already in the pre-market, that is very, very nice. Definitely in play. And I think today, normally we wouldn't put this stock on deck, but I think today you might see something good out of it. I think we really can get some opportunities out of this one. 333 is the low of the pre-market at the moment. That might change if this thing continues to show weakness. Towards the top, I'm going to mark down this area here. 338 is a good one. We do have the big level here that we lost was 336, 361.16. And then we have one here, not so much weight as this one, right? This one obviously you got a lot of touches on there. The more touches you have on a level, the stronger that it's going to be, like that 361 and 353.16. Also an area where you can see some possible action happening there as well. Let's see. Let's see how that turns out. Right now, getting a small bounce, giving the drop at the moment of 333 in the pre-market. Let's see if that is going to hold. Now, if we have not been down here, that is your 52-week low. When was the last time we were hanging out in this area? Oh, we haven't. Oh, no, we have. Of course we have. We're going back to May, April 2020. So it's been a while. But if we scroll down here, we can see some, at 333, a good area of support happening there. Let's zoom in a little more, just kind of get closer to the action here. Couple of levels here, not a great daily, but you do have some areas. 321. You do have in this messy choppiness, you do have 309, and then obviously the one down here, 292. I don't think we'll get there. I think this thing is already pretty extended. You can see the bounce you're getting here, small bounce you're getting there, but that 321, it could be a possibility if things are going to be very, very weak for them today. So, but they're down 10%. I don't see them going too far away from that. Given the news there. Here's SQ down 2%. Man, they were so bad yesterday. It's almost the entire day, very choppy. Let's see if today they can change that. 66.51 is the low of the pre-market. Lower than that, you do have 63.69. And this is a great area of support. The few times that we got here, we have found a way to bounce. We hit that yesterday. We're bouncing off of that today. Let's see if we can get back to that previous day close line this morning. So that is a skew towards the top, guys. You got plenty highs and lows for the last 2 trading days. I don't think you really need to add anything else there. Let's take a look at Nvidia. Nvidia, again, one of our usual suspects, and we were talking about why we watch Nvidia app on AMD. All these three can move with the market, but there are times where one moves better than the other, or slightly different. Or one is we had a time where, if you guys remember, Apple, Nvidia were selling off, and AMD did not want to sell off. I think it was did not want to leave 100. I think it was in this area here. And AMD was not trading all that well because it really did not want to sell off, although the market was selling off. But other stuff like Apple and AMD were doing the sell off with no problem. So you might have stuff like that, right? This is why you got options to see which one you want to trade, and they trade slightly different as far as the price action itself and the way the volume moves through it. So you might be be liking one more than the other. At the moment, AMD specifically is stuck between the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. I don't think you need to add any more levels here, guys. You got tons of stuff already there. The only thing I will add is a level towards the bottom in case we do sell off here. I'm going to add a level at 74.45 and then one over at 71.91. So I think once you do that, I think you're set when it comes to AMD on both sides, up and down. Netflix looking actually pretty good. We are getting a did we do AMD, Apple? Oh yeah, actually we have to do some of these. Hold on, we got to go back. But I started talking about Netflix here. Netflix actually looking pretty good, guys, on the daily. A possible breakout here. So I'm going to mark down the high of the breakout, high of the day, high of the pre-market, excuse me, 231. So that is good there. I think they have some news today as well. So they got higher than usual volume this morning. This is another ticker that doesn't get great volume, so we'll see it today if this increase in volume in the pre-market can mean something for us. 234.71, another great level here as well. You see a lot of touches on there, and right now you're just kind of stuck between the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. A lot of activity happening here towards the bottom. Let's see if we can break out of this situation here nicely. So heading back up to AMD, we have levels 4. We are good there. Apple, very similar situation that we have on AMD, guys. Stuck between the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. Just going to mark down the high of the pre-market at 156.15, which is actually higher than what I just put there. It's going to be actually right up here. But you know what? This 155.78 is not bad. We had a lot of stuff happening there after hours last night. We got a spike to that 155. Yeah, that's not bad, actually. I'm going to keep that on there. And if I look at the daily, there's a couple of days opening, closing right on that number, that 155.78. So I'll keep that there, see if that means anything for us at the market open if we do head in that direction. And then low of the pre-market, so one thing I'm going to put on here is 154.53. And once you set that, I think you're pretty much set, right? I think NVIDIA is going to be very similar. Again, just kind of stuck here between the highs and lows. I'm just going to mark down low of the pre-market 130 132.37 and the high at 132.44. I think once you do that, you are set. Okay, SQ did we look at? Yeah, SQ is good, Adobe is good, and everything else here. Look at Adobe here heading back down, maybe. We'll see. Had a little pop of 333. Let's see if we're going to make a new loss. We head back down here. We're going to hold on that 333. Let's go through our secondary list. We have Neo on deck, which again traded very. Look at Neo's daily, by the way. Nothing but green candles. Although we have gapped down quite a bit, right? So we gapped down here, ran up, gapped down yesterday, ran up again. We're gapping down again here, and notice that we keep making newer lows on the daily against this 22. So we're setting up nicely here. Either that's going to become some really good resistance and we're heading back down, or hopefully we can break out of that 222. And the other option, obviously, is we just go sideways, right? But hopefully there's some kind of breakout, either a big rejection or a nice breakout will be great for Neo. They've been trading very well, very, very well on the last week or two. It's actually started right around here. Since here, they've been trading much decent, but these couple of days, the intraday itself has been very clean with an increase in volume, as you can see here. They trade heavy volume already, about 43, but they've been doing more than that in the last couple of days, which is really showing how great that could be for a ticker like Neo. All right, Jose, thank you. Appreciate the comments there. Fubo, we looked at Starbucks. Yeah, Starbucks was another one that actually it was on my secondary list. If you guys remember, this thing was on fire. I mean, this thing just took off yesterday. It was very, very strong. Yeah, that's very, very nice there. Went sideways, but it had a big move already after it did this move. So went sideways in the later parts of the day. I don't know if you're going to get that type of action today. I mean, they don't get heavy volume. The last couple of days, they've seen some pretty good stuff. I don't think you're going to get that type of push today for the second day AG. I don't think this is the type of ticker that would do that. I think you get 2 good moves, and already you had 2 really big days as far as movement here. I think you might see some like sideways action going forward now, or a little bit lighter volume. Again, we will see how strong this catalyst is going to continue to push them, but I think today you might not get a whole lot out of this. And you cannot base a lot on the pre-market because they normally do not get heavy pre-market volume. Look at it yesterday. It just didn't have all that crazy pre-market activity like you see on other tickers. So Neo is on here, good possibility. They're down 1.5, volume starting to creep in. So I actually like them as well. Tesla's a good one. If the daily on Tesla looks amazing. So if you like Tesla, guys, this is the one to look at today. I mean, their daily is really, really nice. Tesla, for me, the pullbacks tend to be a little bit more aggressive than what I would like. But man, if you can trade Tesla well, we want to have this on your list, guys. This is looking really good. And I see talking about having this on your list, Mike put it on his list: Tesla, SQ, and Netflix. A-Firm, another one that can be very active today. They got some negative news about some regulations coming into their business, their type of business, not just them, but their type of business. So that's not good for them. And they're seeing some of that drop here, down 6.7. Today could be interesting. Today could be interesting, right? This business already had problems before. The people not paying back the pay days or pay loans or whatever they do. They were not getting the payments back, and that was hurting them before. More regulation is not going to make things easier for them. So they're dropping down here a little bit. This could be good. I'm like, this is the sleeper for today, my friends. A-Firm. We'll be on the lookout for that. Can we short this too? Yeah, it is shortable. Yeah, I'm gonna put A-Firm as a top possible. I might replace SQ actually. You know why? Because SQ for me, it doesn't trade very well at times. So let me look at A-Firm today. Let's do that. I'm gonna move A-Firm up, just making a couple of changes here for my list personally on what I'm looking to trade. I think A-Firm will be one to keep a close eye on today. All right, let's head over to you guys. Anything that you guys like on your end that we're missing? Megan coming in with her list, Netflix and Nvidia today. So 2 pretty good ones. I like Netflix as well this morning. Heading down to our chat room. What do I think about Home Depot? Unless they have news, we're not really watching Home Depot. And that's the only thing with that. Unless they have news, they really don't trade very well. Don't confuse this move. This move here, it's all market stuff, right? So I'm not going to give them credit for that. You could have traded anything on that. What's this? So this was Tuesday, and you would have done well, right? And I'm sure even that drop, actually, no, they traded, actually, would look pretty clean. Yeah, it looked pretty clean, actually. Not a whole lot of volume. They did that move with 5 million shares, man. But again, you could have traded anything on Thursday, you would have had this move. So don't give them credit for that. I don't think they're a great intraday trading stock unless they have news. If you go back and look at these days here where they're doing more than 5 million shares, there's probably some news. Gapping up or down, there's got to be news because these guys, Home Depot, Lowe's, all these retail type companies, even Walmart, right, which is the biggest retailer, right? Even they don't move at all unless they have news. So, Tesla biggest volume in 2 years, really? Right now, let's check. 1.1 million shares, biggest volume in 2 years. No, I don't. You sure? I think we've seen more, man. I think we've seen heavy volume out of Tesla. And keep in mind too, they have had several splits, right? I think in the last 2 years they had at least one, right? We had one recently. I don't know if the last one was in the last 2 years. But that also affects things, right? When you have a split, you might be trading more volume because you're buying more shares, but the value is still the same. Hopefully that makes sense, and I hope I didn't screw that up while explaining that there, right? So for example, with like Amazon trades a lot more shares now, but they're probably relative compared to what they were doing before because there was a $2,000 stock, right? Yesterday they traded that volume. Okay. I see that 72 million. Okay. Just feels like they traded a lot more than that before, but yeah. Okay, knee is good. We have it as a possible on the list here. I love the gap down. We just need to see how this thing is going to trade. Typically, this stock is horrible, doesn't trade very well. But I like this gap down 4% today. I like where they're sitting at on the daily. We gapped up from here before. This could be a hit or miss. This is the reason why I have it as a possible. But there could be some opportunities here today. We do have shares for short. The spread is looking good right now. Hopefully it stays that way. Yeah, it's looking decent this morning. All right, I think we cover everything. How about over on YouTube? Jose, you're giving us AMD and Shopify, AMC, excuse me. AMC, no, not in play. This is one of the stocks that we're going to look at when we have heavy volume. The last couple of days, we have seen nothing from this one. And the pre-market is not giving us any indication that we should be watching this stock today. So that's just my take on it. You need our friends at Wall Street Best to get this moving for us to watch it. So not really in play this morning. Same thing with Shopify. So again, you just don't have volume here. So I don't think this is really in play. Now, this ticker, from experience, we know how bad this ticker could be, guys. I mean, even with volume, even with a catalyst, they can trade very spotty. Their spread is at times not the best. Just be careful with this one. Rivian, daily, interesting stuff. We had it on our list a couple of days, and it did all right. Right? I think we had it yesterday as well, and it did okay. I mean, I traded Neo instead. I think it just moved great. Neo was amazing yesterday. But yeah, you could watch this one. I'm gonna watch Neo. I don't see anything great on this one right now to put it on my list. So Oxy gap down. Oxy has been letting me down, man. It hasn't been really trading all that well. Even yesterday wasn't clean. We've seen some good action out of Oxy in the past. They haven't done a whole lot lately. It's just kind of stuck within this range, and the trading is showing that. The daily candles are showing that, where we're not getting these nice, clean candles, right? Closing very nice with some wide body candles in here. These candles where you have all wick and just small bodies usually tend to be like this right here, right? You get one move and then sideways, one move down, sideways. Tend to not be great for trading. Netflix, yeah, Netflix is on deck, Gary. Netflix is definitely here. I like their setup today, and yeah, they're looking good this morning. Let's see if they can get the volume. Pre-market, you're not going to get a whole lot on Netflix. At the market open, we'll get more information to make a better decision on Netflix. But I believe they have news today. I read it earlier. Their news is, where are they? Yeah, ad streaming support revenue, something like that. Yep, plus can add 40 million unique viewers by Q3. Right, so they're looking at an increase in viewers. That's going to be good for them because we know how badly that hurt them. The last time where they lost was 2 million viewers in a... Wait, how are they going to add 40 million unique viewers by Q3? How are they going to do that? If they just lost... Yeah, I want to see that. With the slashing prices, that seems very optimistic. Bot viewers, of course. Yeah, Jonathan, how are they going to add 40 million by Q3? Sorry. See? Got to read the whole thing. Q3 of 2023. So, all right, that's I'm thinking by end of this year or something. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Got to read the whole thing, Carlos. All right. We are set here. Yeah, we're set. Let's see our moderators lineup, guys. We have a couple of things in here. Let's see what's going on there. As I am doing this, if you haven't done so already, guys, hit that thumbs up over on YouTube. We're sitting at 141 likes. We love to be above that 250. It makes us feel all good and jiggly inside. So if you could help us there, really, really appreciate it. I'm gonna bring over our moderators list and see what our team is watching today. So we'll disable this video so we don't get the effect, and we'll resize this nicely, and let's see what our Thursday moderators lineup looks like today. So let's bring this over here. All right, we have Jared, Adobe for sure, right? Energy stocks, usual suspects, right? You got your Apple, Nvidia, and so forth. And then you're looking at secondary list UNP, CSX, and also CTVA on his list this morning. Mike will be looking at Tesla, SQ, and Netflix. Megan, Netflix, Nvidia, and IPOs for today. You got a couple there. Norm is pointing out, and then I'm sorry, Peter's pointing out. Peter's lists AMD, Apple, Netflix, Adobe, Nvidia, and Neo on his secondary. So looking good there. Susan will be watching Tesla, Apple, Netflix, NE, and CSX, which is probably the one that will be in play today. 871,000 shares traded. Obviously, you got the union news with the rails and all that stuff going on with them today. So excellent. Thinking Neo will sell off in the first 10 to 15 minutes and then going to look to go for a long. Let's see. You got a plan in place. Good. You got a plan in place. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It has been selling off. It has been gapping down a lot and then going long, right? We've seen that the last 2 days here, gap down, went long. Gap down yesterday, sold off a lot more. And I think that was longer than 15 minutes. So just be careful your time frame. If I look at this, I think it was, yes, more than 15 minutes. It was like half hour of just sideways action, right? The sell-off here, then you got sideways action. You're at 30 minutes now. You're at an hour. So just be careful with the time frame, right? We see this so many times, guys. And we tell our members all the time, stocks tend to want to trend after an hour, hour and a half of the market open. So if you're getting stopped out a couple of times within that first hour and a half, there's a whole day of trading that happens. And if you notice, a lot of the stuff that gets trending and moving doesn't happen right away, right? Look at Neo here, happened after an hour and a half, right? Actually, an hour, right? Got going pretty nice. So be patient with the process. You might not get your setup when you want it at the time you want it. You got to see when the market's actually going to give it to you. Very, very important. But Neo, I like Neo actually. It's looking really nice, especially now, starting to get the volume and it's starting to move down here. So this is pretty good as far as getting ready to set up for the market open this morning. Quick recap of what we have: Adobe, we have Affirm, we have Nvidia. Look at Nvidia dropping here. That's looking good. We have Apple, we have AMD and Netflix. So a couple of things happening there. I am actually going to move AMD down because I want to make room for Neo. I think Neo is going to be good today. So I'm going to move AMD down this morning. I am going to get rid of them here from our main list, and I'm going to move Neo up. I think Neo could be nice today again, especially now with the way they're moving in the pre-market, getting that volume going. Look at this drop here. Very nice. Yeah, that could be interesting. All right, guys, we're all set. Brian is up next, trading live with Andrew over on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it every single time. Last opportunity to hit that thumbs up over there if you haven't done so and support the channel. We appreciate it, and it does help us out a ton. So thank you guys for that. Have an amazing trading day this Thursday, and we will see you tomorrow morning. I believe, Jared, it will be off in the morning for engineering the markets, but I'll be on at 8:30 a.m. with Norm to do our watch list and kind of close out the week, guys. So take care, trade safe. I'll be patient with the process, and we'll see you guys later today. Have a good one.